Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Say hi to Roy. Hi.
Is that your dog? Your dog looks so confused. It looks horrifying.
So it's my mom's dog, and they kind of surprised me last weekend, and they dropped her off.
Wait, what's the dog's name?
Her name's Molly.
Molly. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to step off camera. There's been a change of plans. I think I'm just gonna talk with Molly.
Oh, okay, bye.
I don't know how I should take this. You're happy to leave the dog, or you're happy to leave this conversation? I don't know which one's worse.
Leave the conversation.
Conversation? Okay. Well, to be fair, that's my experience with most women. So, so it's no surprise to me.
Hold on. So sorry. Molly. On the couch. All right, whatever. I'll just let her be.
Right. She's like, you know what? Let me leave the conversation. I regret eating before this interview because I feel fatter. I feel like, when you know, well, hey, you're okay, you're a nurse, so debunk this for me.
I'll try.
If it's false, but is it true that you wake up skinnier?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you see what I mean? So I woke up, I could have just woke up and done this. You would have been like, wow, Roy, you look so great.
You're only like a pound or so thinner though.
Oh.
Yeah.
I threw an alley-oop and I was expecting you to slam dunk me with a compliment like, Roy, oh my God, you look 10 pounds.
You look fantastic.
It's the hair. It makes my head look smaller. I haven't had a haircut in such a long time.
I know. You've been doing your little sumo pony.
Oh, yeah, you saw that.
I
was expecting you to say samurai, but man, you're just really fucking me today. First and foremost, how are you feeling? Last time we chatted, you were like in bed like this, and you're like,
Yeah. No, I am good today. I woke up and I felt like a human again, and I've been eating 3 meals a day now, and no more shortness of breath. And today, for the first time, and this is a full 2 weeks since I started my symptoms, I was able to smell like a trace of smell. So.
Huh. It may have been the dog's shit. I don't know. I think that's it. Maybe the dog changes the ambience, the smell. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, can you say you've recovered, or?
They're saying that once you are a full 7 days, since your symptoms have recovered, then you are fully recovered. So I wouldn't consider myself fully recovered yet, because today, I guess I would say today is the first day that my symptoms are fully gone. So starting tomorrow, I guess like a week from tomorrow, I would consider myself fully recovered.
Retrace your steps to where you think you got it, to the symptoms, and telling your family, and them freaking out.
Yeah.
For sure.
So obviously, I'm a nurse, and the floor that I work in at my hospital, we have been a COVID unit since March 13th, since Friday the 13th. Scary. But I can like pinpoint one patient that I think that I got it from. So, but then again, I'm not entirely sure because I just work on that unit. So it could just be on the floor. So that was a Wednesday, I think. And then I didn't start experiencing symptoms until the following Wednesday, Thursday. So a week later after I am presuming I got it. So at first, my nose was kind of stuffy. I was a little congested. I thought that my allergies were just acting up. So I took a Claritin on a Wednesday. And the next day, was when I realized I had lit a candle in my apartment and I was like, oh, I really can't smell that. That's so weird. And I noticed things started tasting different as well, but I wasn't sure if it was just my allergies. I really didn't know what to attribute it to. Up until that point, I had heard mixed things. I was reading things online, and everything I was reading, it said they didn't have enough data to definitely say that loss of sense of taste and smell were coronavirus symptoms. But I didn't have any other symptoms. And I was checking my temperature every day because we were instructed to do so. Because obviously we wouldn't be allowed to go to work if we were having symptoms. But this nurse was adamant about, no, I was talking to the infectious disease doctor. They said that in young, healthy people, this is a symptom and it could be your only symptom. You need to get tested. It was such a high anxiety time. I kind of wasn't recognizing that I wasn't actually feeling well. And so Sunday morning when I spoke to them, they said, okay, let's get you tested. We're going to furlough you from work. Don't go to work. And Sunday is when my symptoms kind of got worse. So this is the day that I became really short of breath. Had extreme fatigue. I wound up sleeping for like a full 24 hours. And so yeah, it was the loss of senses, extreme fatigue, and shortness of breath. And at this point, I still did not have a fever. So I called them Sunday morning at 8:00 in the morning, and I wasn't able to get an appointment to get tested until Tuesday at 9:10 in the morning. So, and then luckily my test was sent to the Department of Health. So results you get back within 48 hours. If it didn't go to the Department of Health, it could have taken up to 5 days to get those results.
And what was that? What was that? What was that test like? Like, what did they have you do?
So I got up, drove in my car there, and the site opened at 9 a.m. And so I got there probably 5 to 9, and there was already a line of cars waiting. And then they moved the barricade, and it was kind of like a drive-through line, and one car after the other drove in. And it was interesting, the people that were working there, they held up signs for what to do. So they said, please stay in your car, don't roll down your window, that kind of thing. So I pulled up in my car, and there were 4 parking spots, and each parking spot like had a number. And once you parked your car, you had to call the phone number and then, verify who you were, verify that you had an appointment. And then once the person, checked you in essentially, then somebody came out again with a clipboard, and it said, hi, again, like stay in your car, keep your window up. And then we had to hold up our license to the window, and then they brought out the kit, and it was just a tube, and they verified our name to it, and then they showed us the tube, and then we verified it too. So then one car would go at a time, and they would wave you on. And then once you drive up to the front of the building at this point, then somebody came out, in the whole garb.
And a hazmat?
Yeah, they had the mask, they had the whole suit. Like when I work at the hospital, I just wear a gown, but they had like the whole zip up suit. And, then, so you can get tested 2 ways. You can get it just up your nose, and it'll go back to your nasopharynx, or they can do a throat swab too. I didn't have a throat swab. They just went up in my nose, and it's just this long Q-tip. And I've tested people. It's the same thing if you got tested for the flu. It's the same kind of test. And they held it up there for a really long time. She said to me, she was like, okay, I'm going to count down from 5. So she stuck it up, and I'm waiting. And finally she goes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But the whole time it's just like stuck in my nose, and it's just such an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, it's like a face physical.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you found out 2 days later, or in 2 days?
So Sunday I called that I got tested Tuesday, and then I found out I was positive on Thursday. So actually a whole week later after my symptoms had started.
From Tuesday until you found out that you were positive. Um, did anything change, like, for you at all? Like, did you feel more sick? And was it like really sick, or was it just like, oh, I'm so nervous about what the result could be that I think I'm just adding to my own mental stress?
Once I like finally succumbed to it, then I was really sick, but I think Saturday, like I didn't know that I didn't feel well until I knew I didn't feel well. Does that make sense?
To put it in terms that fit very well with your line of work, it's kind of like when like a soldier is at like in a war zone, and then he's like doing and then he gets shot, but he doesn't feel it, he doesn't
Yeah.
know it, and then they're like, oh, hey, you got shot in your abdomen, and he'll be like, oh, I didn't feel that.
Honestly, that's probably a good analogy, because Saturday, like looking back at it, I definitely wasn't myself and I didn't feel well, but I just kind of, I went to work, I took care of my patients, and then Sunday morning is when they said, okay, let's get you tested. And I was finally like, yeah, I'm sick. like, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And now, so the thing is, because a lot of people have asked me, did I ever have a fever? I never had a fever. I never had a sore throat. I never had any like stomach issues, but these are all things that could happen. One of my friends, she actually works in the ICU, not in the Philly area though. And she was the first nurse to get it at her hospital too. So we've kind of been like in this together. So she was having a sore throat, and she also felt that like someone was actively punching her chest. So I never felt like chest pain. I just felt like I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you right now. I would have to be like, I need a second. I need to catch my breath. I can't breathe. And like it was to the point where I would even roll in bed or sit up or just walk from my bed to my bedroom door, and I just was completely out of breath. I also got really lightheaded, but I also think that may be because I wasn't eating, because I didn't have an appetite. I lost 10 pounds because I just wasn't eating anything.
Right, the symptoms are vast, and that's what makes this thing tricky. Like, you don't know whether you have it or not, because the symptoms that the health experts are telling you in the news are different from the ones you're feeling. And at this point, anyone who feels anything is automatically gonna have that Cardi B voice in their mind. Coronavirus.
Yeah.
So yeah, talk to me about that, and what you think. Why you think it's so tricky? Why the symptoms are so all over the place?
I don't know why the symptoms are all over the place, but I guess trying to answer your question, if like things drastically changed, I would say no. I mean, it was kind of it, because I've seen patients come to the hospital and they are okay, and then like that they're not, and they're tanking and they need to get intubated. So for me, I didn't ever have like a really drastic change. I was really lucky. I'm grateful. I'm very thankful that I did have such a mild case. But I would say, Sunday, I just remember Sunday and Monday, I just could not believe how out of breath I was, and like trying to catch my breath. That was the most drastic thing, because, Thursday I started not being able to smell anything. And then Friday, Saturday, I was like, okay, I need to get tested. And then Sunday, I was like really sick. So I guess that was the most drastic change.
What do you think the coronavirus was trying to do?
Just knock me out. Just the coronavirus is a bully, and it wants to knock you out. So
like it wants you to stay in bed, like it wants you to
oh yeah, I lived in my bed. I didn't shower for like a long time.
That's without coronavirus, so I probably shouldn't admit that. How will this experience change the way you treat your patients?
Right now, it's just really sad because there's no visitors in the hospital. So that, I mean, I've been in my apartment alone, and it's been really like lonely and sad. And so now I can, empathize for my patients. They're fighting this battle essentially, and they don't have anyone except me, the nurse. And it's hard because a lot of the nursing staff is scared. Like, we're scared to go to work. There's high anxiety levels. I think it'll help me empathize more, and just be more patient. It's been challenging because it is scary to go into these rooms, especially now, because the big question is, will I be reinfected? That a lot of people have been asking me that too. And I mean, so far, everything that I've read is there's just this unknown. I've read that I could be immune for a couple of months. I've read another article that said I could be immune for a year. And then I read another article that said I'm not immune and I can get reinfected. So and that's like the scariest thing with this disease, is there are so many unknowns.
Like, all we know right now is how to prevent it. And it seems to be the most simple thing, which is not interact with people.
Just stay home.
It's mostly because it's a selfish reason. I really want like the world to go back to normal by the summer.
No. I want to go to the beach.
Yeah, like I'm trying to be a thought this summer, but I don't. Okay, so when the pandemic hit China, my mom would call me about every 12 hours when she wakes up and when she goes to bed.
How are you calling your mom? Because do you have minutes or what?
So I have my Chinese phone, and so I mean, the people who really want to talk to me, they download this app called WeChat, and that's how we talk.
Okay.
So I mean,
or let me communicate through Instagram.
Yeah. So Instagram's cool. But the problem is I can't do it all the time because I need to be somewhere that has good Wi-Fi. My place sucks ass. But I sometimes think about it. I'm like, I probably shouldn't have given my mom my WeChat because she calls so much. And it's like it's come to the point where I ignore it. I ignore it because it's like, Mom, what am I going to tell you differently? Like, I'd like to save up the conversation or save up the time. That way we have things to talk about when I call you.
Recently just had this conversation with my parents because they were calling me. This was even before the pandemic. And they were calling me every day. Like, my mom would call me when I would go to bed, and then she'd call me when I wake up. I'm like, Mom, nothing's changed. Like, I went to sleep and I went to the bathroom. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and it's like, she was like, yeah, but you talk to your friends every day. I'm like, Mom, that's different. We're sending each other memes. We're not really talking.
Yeah. And so I tried to, and there's no easy way of telling your parents, I just want to talk to you less. Like, I just don't want to talk to you all the time. There's no easy way.
Well, no, it's hard for them to realize that us wanting to talk to you less doesn't mean we love you less.
Yes. And I tried to stress to them, I said, it's quality over quantity. Let's have quality conversations over very small conversations every single day.
Yeah, or like surface level stuff. Like I wouldn't mind if my mom just sent me memes every day. I'd respond with some of my best memes too. I think that's a way to communicate these days. Yeah. And then after every 4 days, or if that's
actually now it's communicating in TikTok. So.
Oh well, let's not go there. I actually, one of my questions is what has annoyed you from this whole experience? I have a list here, and my top one is the TikTok videos.
TikTok.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but right now, let's stick to the topic of our parents turning our phones into a DIY vibrator because of how much they call us. Really, the one who's calling me right now. She's been calling me for the past 4 hours.
Oh my gosh. Do you have a pink phone, Roy?
What happened?
Do you have a pink phone?
I got 2 phones. I got one for my hose and one for my hose, but in China. Hello?
my biggest thing is I don't want to infect anyone. And so since I'm working in the hospital, coming home, I'm glad I'm not coming home to people that aren't being exposed to it, because then I would feel like if they get it, it's literally because of me.
Yeah, oh man, I have a friend who's a nurse and has a kid, has a child, and that's like one of her biggest worries too.
Yeah.
It's not, man, the sacrifices that you guys are making is incredible.
Yeah, like my coworkers, some of them have talked about getting a hotel for this time so they don't have to go home to their families. It's just scary, yeah. Because symptoms are so vast and because every single person has been affected differently, that's what's so scary about it, because you seriously just never know how it's going to affect you.
What keeps you strong? Especially now that you are a soldier on the front line, and the fact that you went through this terrifying experience, whether it's mild or not, to go back to the war zone after getting wounded in battle is just, I just think that's like the epitome of bravery and selflessness. And you, I mean, you're just so quick to do it. I mean, just what keeps you strong?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I truthfully think what keeps me strong is I touched on it earlier about how beautiful it's been, all these people coming together to support me and be there for me. And honestly, just, they keep saying that we're in this together and we're all alone, but we're all together. And I truly think just the unity that this disease has kind of shown us, and the compassion that humans have towards each other, I truly think that's what keeps me strong. And just knowing that I am the person that can, help someone that is suffering from it feel better, I don't know. It's truthfully just that. And it is scary. I'm scared. I am scared to go back, but I know I have to go back. I'm really proud to be a nurse right now, to think that this is my first year of nursing. And just in 6 months of being a nurse, I get hit with a pandemic. I have the pandemic, and then I have to go back to fight it. It's kind of incredible.
Listen, I don't know what the world has in store for everyone once everything goes back to normal, but they must do something to honor you guys. Like, I don't know if it means canceling all your student debt. That'd be fucking awesome.
That'd be amazing.
Gosh, I'm all for it. Free Starbucks for a year. I don't know. And one more thing before I let you go, because the biggest reason I wanted to do this and chat with you is because you're young and you had the coronavirus. And yeah, some may see this conversation and get the impression from your experience that this virus is a walk in the park, or they might downplay it because they can survive it. In fact, the numbers do show that, a large percentage of youth do survive it. It's a really dumb way of putting it, but is this something worth getting if someone's like, oh no, I'm just going to be careless and go to a friend's house or just ignore the social distancing or whatever?
So, no, so this is serious because it affects everyone so differently. Just because I had a mild case doesn't mean if I infect someone, they're going to have a mild case.
I couldn't have said it any better. And I'm glad that it was only a mild case, despite, you getting it. I wish it didn't have to come to that, but you're a trooper. I'm going to add like this very aggressive round of applause in post. So right now, okay, I want you to act like you're getting a huge round of applause right now. How would you react to that? Because I'm adding it right now. Go ahead. Oh my God. One of those? Oh my God. I'm going to add a crowd just.
Thank you. You're
so humble.
No, settle down, really.
It's a coronavirus. No, I'm kidding.